Hey guys, this is Hero, and today I'm back with another video, how to deal with trauma from my own spiritual perspective, okay? As you can see, I have the points listed down as I usually do. However, today I have one with a star next to it. First pointer ever I have with the star. Why do I have it with the star? Basically, if you are not able to retain or remember any of this information, I want you to just basically hone in on this point and remember this. And that is, with trauma, accept the fact that this event changed you or altered your life. What do I mean? Most people, when something happens to them, they either try to forget that it happened, or they try to pretend like it didn't happen the way it did, or it basically changes their mindset in such a way that it alters them internally very strongly, and they try to go back to how their mindset was before this event happened. And we need to understand that sometimes that's not completely possible, that change is always occurring in this human birth, that we're constantly evolving, we're dynamic, and that we're always going to change, and that sometimes this change can happen gradually, but sometimes it can happen very suddenly, like with trauma. So we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this. Now, going on that point, why does change happen so suddenly when it comes to trauma? Why don't we get trauma, if we ate at, when we ate dinner last night, okay? Why do we get trauma with certain events? And the key to that is identifications. So what do I mean by identifications? Well, when we buy, let's just say, a new house, a new car, nice house, we start dating someone very attractive, or very, with an upstanding status in the society, we form a very good, quote unquote, good identification, or our ego does at least, about us. So externally, our close friends and family, our ego might be like, hey, it feels real gassed up about our close ones knowing that, we've attained such a great thing in our life. Also internally, let's just say, you're more low key, no one really knows about this, but when we go out in public, when we're constantly, subconsciously comparing ourselves to everyone else, we're like, I doubt that this person has this really nice car. In our ego tries to get ahead of itself, subconsciously, assuming that we're better than everybody else. So that's an example of a good identification. Now with trauma, that's a bad identification, or there's quote unquote bad identifications formed. So for example, let's just say, you got robbed and you got beaten up very, very badly. So externally, let's just say, our close ones, like our friends and family, or some people in the society that might know about the event, they might, or our ego thinks that they might perceive us as, that guy that got, beaten up. And that, doesn't really feel too good. Also, internally, we may feel that, we didn't like how vulnerable we felt, while we got beaten up. We didn't like how, embarrassed we felt that someone was able to take advantage of us in that kind of way. So that's what I mean by identifications. Our ego starts identifying with the fact that we felt that embarrassment, or that, people are perceiving us, in this lower light, even though that might not be true at all. But our ego is forming so many identifications about every event that's happening. However, some of these traumatic events are usually not stuff that happens every day. And, there's usually a high, you usually experience some kind of emotions that you probably haven't felt before. So, and our ego kind of identifies with that this event made us feel XYZ emotions. And what happens is, when we form these identifications, it leads to all kinds of thoughts. So what do I mean by that? So like I said, if we're at a party and let's just say, we just got beat up last week and robbed, we might have the perception in our head that, hey, look, these people are all looking at me as the guy that just got, beat up last week, okay? And by the way, just FYI, if you are hanging around people that actively have these thoughts and are, perpetuating the anxiety in your life, I would try to distance yourself as much as possible from these people. But moving forward, our ego forms thoughts about these identifications that we have. Or let's just say we go to the grocery store, we're probably looking at all the people in there and being like, hey, you know what? Nobody else in here got beat up the way I did. Why did it happen to me? Also, with this traumatic event, we probably experienced a lot of emotions, okay? We probably experienced a lot of fear, or just a wide range of emotions, and how we can further identify these thoughts and emotions is by meditating. Okay, by meditating, you're basically bringing all the subconscious stuff up to the conscious, and we're able to clear it and go about our lives. But moving back to the video with identification. So I think you guys understood the gist. We identify with certain events that happen in our life that are traumatic, and we identify with certain features that happen in our certain features related to this event that have happened. Secondly, with this trauma is that it results in flashbacks and it affects our current day-to-day decisions. So these thoughts and emotions related to this trauma, so for example, the emotion of feeling so vulnerable, or feeling so fearful, stuff like that, or the thoughts of just the anxiety thoughts. Like, let's just say you're walking down the street and you're thinking, oh man, this could happen to me at any point in time, and you're kind of trained like, hey, don't think that stuff, that was kind of just a one-off thing, whatever. Or the fear you get when you're walking down the street, you kind of shove that down because your brain is taking over and saying, hey, you know what, this is probably not going to happen again. But you're not acknowledging those thoughts and emotions. You're just stuffing them down. So when you're walking down the street, those thoughts and emotions are still festering at your subconscious. Okay, you're just not dealing with them, and you're trying to pretend that they're not there, but they're slowly building up and affecting your day-to-day decisions. So it's probably still increasing your anxiety, causing a whole host of mental problems that it would be beneficial to not have to deal with if you were to just accept these thoughts and emotions. Also, flashbacks. So basically, when you stuff down these thoughts and emotions to such a degree, and eventually it's just going to plurge out. So that's why flashbacks occur. Now, like I said, we want to accept all thoughts and emotions related to this. I'm going to give you another example that you guys might be able to relate to. Let's just say someone cheated on you, okay? So we want to, first of all, accept the fact that someone cheated on us and all thoughts related to this. So what are some of the thoughts that could relate to this? Hey, I might not be as valuable as a person as I think I am. This person might have thought of me as worthless. I might not be as good looking as I think I am. You get the idea of the thoughts that can pop up in your brain after an event like this. Or even, let's just say you didn't get cheated on, but someone left you. These thoughts also might come up. Hey, maybe I might be a nobody. Maybe no one likes me for me, etc. And we basically want to accept all thoughts. Now, you're not going to believe all thoughts. I made a video on the difference between accepting and believing your thoughts. Watch that if you're a little confused on what to do. But you just want to accept all these thoughts, okay? What do I mean by accepting the emotions? You might have, a fear, let's just say on the cheating example or someone leaving you, you might have fears pop up, like an emotion, a fearful emotion of, not ever finding someone like this person again. We want to accept that fear, okay? We don't want to live off of that fear, because if we live off of that fear, I've explained in my past videos, that's usually a disaster. We've been trained to kind of live off fear. We do not want to live off fear. And the way we do that is not let it build up. Just accept fear. Fear is a natural emotion, but if we keep stuffing it in, we're basically living off fear. So the fear of not finding someone else, if we live off that, we might jump into, with someone too quickly, and it's completely perpetuated based off of fear. It's not actually based off of something grounded or something, healthy that's gonna, benefit us in the long run. I want to accept all memories. So basically, this is just accept the way that this event happened. Okay, don't try to change it. If someone left you, don't try to, rationalize in your head that, oh, they were just no good anyways. Accept the fact that they left you. Okay, accept the fact that if you got beat up, that maybe you weren't as big and strong as you think you are. Okay, or that you can't get taken advantage of. Don't try to change this. Accept the embarrassment that came with this. Okay, so trauma has a lot to do with embarrassment. We tend to theorize that we should live our lives extremely perfectly, which is not possible at all. But when something kind of steers off that perfect path, we tend to get embarrassed because we care a lot about what other people think of us. Okay, so basically just accept that embarrassment, accept any possible thoughts that anybody could think of you, just accept it. Accept the possibility of them, okay? Can't control what people think. this ties into this. Accept all judgment related to this trauma. Okay, if someone wants to judge you for something happening, and view you as less of a person or something like that, just accept it. Okay, once you accept it, your mind mentally is at peace. Whatever happens on the external happens on the external, but in the present, we maintain a state of happiness, and we're not able to let these thoughts and emotions bother us. Just accept them. We'll be in a much purely happier place, purely more calm place, purely less volatile place when it comes to your mental state. I already went over this. Accept the but I'm just going to repeat it one more time. Accept the fact that this event changed you or altered your life. Okay, even if you do these things, you might not go back to who you were before. You might change, but you might also and you probably actually will change for the better, as far as from a mental or spiritual growth standpoint goes. You're probably going to gain awareness of a lot of the thoughts and emotions that were holding you down, but it just took this one traumatic event to kind of just bring it to the surface and force yourself to acknowledge them. Okay, for example, let's just say you got left by somebody. Yeah, it could be traumatic because something that you were relying on so much on for your happiness just got ripped apart like that. That could bring up the thought that, or make you become aware of the fact that, hey, I didn't realize I was depending on someone so much for happiness. I kind of just kept shoving it down, and I had this thing going for me, so I kind of just rolled with it. But once this is gone, you were able to acknowledge that thought or emotion. Okay, so accept the fact that you've changed mentally. Sometimes, let's just say, when it comes to relationships or something, when something bad happens to us, when it comes to future relationships and stuff like that, we don't feel the same, with future partners. And that's okay. And here's why. Because when we're growing up, especially with like movies and stuff, we're kind of trained that, once we find this person, that, we're going to feel so much ecstasy with this person, and, it's all going to be, great, roses and, sunshine forever. And we're so, at a poor mental state, like up here, that when we do, because we grow up conditioned that we have to have this person to make us happy. So when that first, kind of experience, does come where, you feel that bliss, it's great. But then when it's gone, you start becoming, aware of, how much you're relying on that, and you don't feel the same going forward. And that's completely okay, because we're more whole within ourselves. If we're only a half, and we're with someone else that's a half, yeah, you kind of artificially make yourselves a whole, but that's not sustainable at all, spiritually or mentally. You're just going to drain each other out, because you're constantly having to fill each other's half cup up. However, once you do get whole, you will notice, let's just say you attract someone a little bit more whole. Yeah, they're not filling your cup up as much, because you're already whole within yourself. Okay, they're not giving you that that feeling that some kind of crazy drugs would give you, because they're just genuinely supporting you. You're already happy. They're not making you happy. Okay, so that feeling of ecstasy is not there, which is okay. Okay, we want to understand that most likely this event, it's going to change your mindset for the better over time if you do the work and accept the thoughts and emotions. Accept all the embarrassment and judgment. Lose the mindset that of caring what other people think about you and all that. And the last thing is accept the fact that it could have been preventable, or that it could have been your fault. When this happens, we tend to kind of think back and how we could have changed things, or blah blah blah. Or let's just say with a partner, I could have said this, or I could have done this, and it still would have been like this. Yeah, just remember that we're all on a journey right now spiritually. And that journey is going to have ups and downs, and it's going to have some things that just are embedded in our karma that we can't change. Even if our mind tries to trick us that we had the illusion of changing it, sometimes we could have. Sometimes it genuinely was a bad decision. But moving on from that, just accept the fact that it happened. And even if it's something that was our fault, most likely we're going to look back at it as a huge learning lesson. Accept the fact that it happened. And going forward, accept the emotions and thoughts. And if it was your fault, you'll most likely be able to make better decisions related to everything, basically related to anything that's going on in your mind that you've been accepting from any thoughts or emotions that kind of connect to any decisions that you'll make going forward. You're going to be able to make those decisions a lot better. Okay, so this is basically how you deal with trauma. Accept the thoughts, emotions, and memories related to this rather than stuffing it down, and accept the fact that it changed you, and accept the fact that it probably might have put you on a whole new path, but that most likely it's going to be for the betterment of your spiritual and mental growth. So thank you, and until next time, see you guys later.